The early 2000s. Flip phones were in, social media was non-existent, and music fans bought full albums on compact disc, essentially investing in their favorite band's full body of work. And no band sold more albums or made more headlines in the early 2000s than Science of Music. But that fame came at a price. What brought them together, their unique differences and personal strengths, also tore them apart just 2 years later. Creative differences, fights, bad behavior, and phenomenal music. This is the story of Science of Music. It all started in early 2002 in the halls of Brookhaven'S school, where 7 students came together with a shared dream to start a band. They were Roxanne Lee, the ambitious straight-A student, Lyra and Jett Maxwell, sisters, known for their winning streak in the school talent show, Matt Johnson, a lifelong music lover with a keen ear, Frank Einstein, a creative type with big ideas, Katrina Bowie, better known as Kat, an eclectic free spirit, and Peter Hernandez, star drummer in the school marching band. The group got together every day after school to practice in Peter's basement.
We were good. Really good.
So good, in fact, that their principal asked them to play at that year's prom.
It was a big opportunity. We were very excited.
But then, just 4 days before the prom, Peter came to them with bad news. His family was moving away.
Just like that, we lost our drummer and our rehearsal space.
The band was devastated. Their dreams were shattered. Or were they? As it turned out, help would come in an unexpected form. Their 59-year-old science teacher, Harry Perlmutter. He told us he used to be a drummer a long time ago and offered to fill in for Peter at the prom. So we said yeah. What happened next can only be described as alchemy.
If we were good with Peter, we were great with Harry. It just worked. It was magic.
They played to a captive and captivated audience at the prom, including Brookhaven Records executive Mick Staccato, who happened to be chaperoning the dance. I heard them, I loved them, I signed them on the spot. Their sound was incredible. I'd never heard anything like it. So much guitar. It was this insane synthesis, this homogenization of sound, like a chemical reaction for your ears. And so, Science of Music was born. What was supposed to be a one-time gig at the school prom had become something far bigger. Things were moving at the speed of light, and the 7 band members were along for the ride. In January 2003, Science of Music released their debut album, Empirical Evidence. Their first single, Two Hearts, spent 9 weeks at number 1. The buzz surrounding the band was traveling faster than lightning through a metal rod, and while everything seemed to be running smoothly on the surface, on the inside, cracks were starting to form. Kat Bowie was enjoying her newfound fame a little too much, overindulging in the rock star lifestyle of endless clubs and exclusive parties. As a result, she often showed up late for practice, if she showed up at all. But Kat wasn't an anomaly. Frank Einstein regularly seemed distracted and disinterested in anything band-related. The band was fun at first, but it kind of became too much. And it wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. What Frank wanted to do was make horror movies, and he spent all of his time thinking about and writing scripts. Frank's distractedness and Kat's wild streak resulted in symbiotic resentment between them and the band, leaving the others to do all the work. Which was especially hard on 59-year-old Harry.
He was old, so it took a lot for him to keep up. But somehow he did.
What the band didn't know was that Harry had recently been diagnosed with a serious heart problem. And the increasingly volatile state of the band was only making his condition worse. In fact, at a party celebrating the double platinum status of their debut album, the stress of a fight between Roxanne and Matt caused Harry to pass out. Mick Staccato saw it all. Look, Science and Music was the hottest band in Robloxia, but they were acting foolish, so I told them, shape up or ship out. Mick's ultimatum seemed to work as the band came together for an iconic performance on MTV's Total Request Live in August 2003.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher.
A week later, the band returned to the studio to work on their sophomore album. They envisioned it to be a collaboration of individual creativity, each band member contributing their own music and lyrics in a full-fledged group effort. But the record executives had other ideas. Look, they all wrote good stuff, but it was very different stuff. Frank was clearly inspired by the horror. Harry was obviously influenced by music from the 60s. Jett and Lyra wrote music playing to their own strengths. It was just all over the place. And of course, as a band, they need to evolve, but they were evolving in different directions. And only one direction would be favored by the record company. When the track listing was revealed in October 2003, 7 out of the 12 songs on the album were songs written by Matt. The other band members were livid.
We all wanted to play our own music, so it caused a lot of problems.
Still, Science of Music's second album, aptly named Radioactive Decay, was released in mid-February 2004 to mixed reviews. The writing style, mainly credited to Matt, was praised, while the musical progression of Kat in particular was universally panned. Aside from Matt, no one was happy. Kat reverted to her partying ways. Frank retreated further into his horror movie scripts. Jett and Lyra secretly began working on their own music. Roxanne struggled to balance the band and school to maintain her valedictorian status. Meanwhile, Harry was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. Science of Music was slowly imploding, but their public still believed in them. So much so that they were asked to perform at the upcoming Brookfest Music and Entertainment Festival scheduled to take place that June.
Being asked to play at Brookfest was a huge honor, so we tried really hard to make it work.
But it wasn't going to be easy. A fight during rehearsals ended with Harry in the hospital undergoing emergency heart surgery. More erratic behavior from Kat led to a physical altercation with Roxanne and a rock star style trashing of a suite at the Brookhaven Grand. Science of Music was all over the headlines. And so, on the day their song, Guess I'll Never Know, hit number 1, they announced they were taking a break.
Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run.
They needed time to cool down, you know? That was the plan. Take a couple months to breathe and then get back to it for Brookfest. But one of them didn't make it to Brookfest. The band hadn't spoken for 2 months. During that time, it seemed that perhaps everyone had sorted themselves out. They had high hopes for Brookfest and beyond. It really looked like Science of Music could get through the rough patch and have a bright future. But then, things took a hard turn. 15 minutes before showtime, the band gathered in their dressing room. All of them except Kat. Since Kat was known for being late, there was no immediate concern. But then, they got the phone call. Kat had just been arrested for a hit and run. Science of Music never took the stage at Brookfest. In fact, they never took the stage together again. People always ask, could we have gone on without Kat? No, because that's the thing about scientific formulas. If you take out one ingredient, it changes everything. And so, Science of Music quietly and unceremoniously dismantled in June of 2004, each member taking different paths. Harry went back to teaching and devoted his free time to directing school plays before retiring in 2007. Jett and Lyra embarked on a wildly successful career as a rock duo, surpassing Science of Music in both sales and critical acclaim. Roxanne dropped out of the limelight to pursue a normal life, becoming a lawyer and a mom. Frank was accepted to the College of Filmmaking and, in 2012, directed his horror movie debut, The Undead's Revenge, which became the first horror film to win an Academy Award for Best Picture. Matt pivoted from performer to producer, earning a record number of Grammys between 2013 and 2023. And Kat went on to endure more controversy, more trouble, and more headlines. She spent the next 15 years in and out of jail for shoplifting, vandalism, assault, forgery, failure to report to jury duty, jaywalking, HOA violations, and perjury. Then, in 2018, she was incarcerated for 18 months for embezzlement. During this time, she penned a tell-all memoir about her time with Science of Music, brazenly making some harsh and incendiary comments about her former bandmates. Listen, everyone thought Roxanne was a nice girl, but let's be real. She's the human equivalent of a septic tank. Frank was the worst. He only knew 3 chords, and 80% of the time, he couldn't even get those right. Science of Music might have been around longer if we didn't have that dumb old man to take care of. Seriously, if mass equals density times volume, Harry's density times the volume of his hearing aid equals the massive waste of space he was in the band. Jett and Lyra aren't even their real names. They're Jennifer and Laura. Matt definitely had talent for stealing other people's music. I actually wrote all those songs on Radioactive Decay, but he passed them off as his own. I can't prove it, but it's true. And even former member Peter wasn't safe from her vitriol. To be honest, I don't even remember Peter. He was so boring and untalented. Peter, by the way, went on to become Bruno Mars, one of the best-selling recording artists of all times. He clapped back at Kat on Twitter in 2020, posting a mugshot of Kat with the sarcastic quip, "Ladies and gentlemen, the real star of Science of Music, ... The book became a bestseller and renewed interest in the band. They were even invited to play Brookfest in 2021, but still reeling from the offensive words of Kat's book, they all declined. A year later, they were offered a spot on the Brookfest 2022 lineup. Alas, Jett and Lyra were in the midst of a world tour and Frank was on location for a movie. In 2023, they were invited again, but Harry was scheduled to undergo hip replacement surgery, so once again, they declined. But now, in 2024, the offer has been extended yet again. This time, no one declined. Will it finally happen? Will Science of Music finally reunite after 20 years? And if so, will it be a success or a failed experiment? Find out at Brookfest 2024.